Several hours after the bombing of Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, the Philippines, a colony of the United States from 1898 to 1946, was attacked by the Empire of Japan. During the next 4 years, thousands of Filipino and American soldiers died. The entire Philippine nation was ravaged, and its capital Manila, once called the Pearl of the Orient, became the second most devastated city during World War II, after Warsaw, Poland. Approximately 1 million civilians perished despite so much sacrifice and devastation. On February 20, 1946, just 5 months after the war ended, the first Supplemental Surplus Appropriation Rescission Act was passed by U.S. Congress, which deemed the service of the Filipino soldiers as inactive, making them ineligible for benefits under the GI Bill of Rights. To this day, these rights have not been fully restored, and majority have died without seeing justice. Feeling down because of the war and facing high prices and not enough food and things, the people got ready to become independent on July 4, 1946. Many of the people who made laws and led the country during the Commonwealth period, like Laurel, Clara Recto, and Rojas, worked in the government that was supported by the Japanese. Harold Ickes, who was in charge of the islands as the United States Interior Secretary, recommended that all of officials above the level of school teacher who had worked together with the Japanese should be removed from their positions and not allowed to vote in the first elections after the war. The collaborators said that they worked with the occupiers to protect the people from the worst part of Japanese rule. Even though Laurel was the president of a controlled republic, he stood up to the Japanese multiple times and made it known that his first loyalty was to the Philippines and second to the Japanese-sponsored Greater East Asia Prosperity Sphere. The critics said that the people who worked together were only thinking about themselves and making money. Even though the people were hungry, the people who rented houses had the worst experience under Japanese rules. The guerrillas, especially those connected to the hooks, were farmers who joined together to protect themselves from the Philippines' constabulary and Japanese attacks. It all started with the signing of the Treaty of Paris that signaled the end of the Spanish-American War on 1898. The treaty involved United States payment of $20 million to Spain after the latter ceded all its imperial possessions, including Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. The Americans established a military government in the Philippines after capturing Manila on 1898. The military government in Philippines is ruled by General Wesley Merritt, 1898, General Elwell Otis, 1898 to 19,000, and General Arthur MacArthur Jr. from 19,000 to 1901. The Spooner Amendment is a congressional amendment to the Army Appropriations Act of 1901 that called for the end of the U.S. military government in the Philippines Congressional Amendment to the Army Appropriations Act of 1901. By the terms of the Treaty Paris, December 1898, sovereignty over the Philippine Islands had passed from Spain to United States. Philippine Organic Act, or also called as Copper Act, is an act in 1902 which was provided for the creation of the Philippine Legislature. Autonomy Act, or also called as Jones Law, is an act in 1926 which provided for the reorganization of the Philippine legislature into a fully elected and Filipino-controlled bicameral body. The Tidings-McDuffie Act, officially the Philippine Independence Act enacted March 24, 1934, is an act of Congress that established the process for the Philippines, then an American theory, to become an independent country after a 10-year transition period. Under the act, the 1935 Constitution of the Philippines was written and the Commonwealth of the Philippines was established with the first directly elected President of the Philippines. It also established the limitations on Filipino immigrations to the United States. The Philippines was liberated from Japanese occupation in 1945, with General Douglas MacArthur leading the Allied force. The Commonwealth of the Philippines was re-established and Sergio Osmeña became the president. The Philippines was granted independence by the United States on July 4, 1946. Manuel Rojas was elected as the first president of the independent Third Republic, despite the fact that the Philippines was still rising up from the ashes brought by the war. The Third Republic was inaugurated also in that day, year 1946 to year 1948. The Philippines faced various economic and political challenges, including the Hukbalahap Rebellion, 1946 to 1954, and the U.S.-Philippine Mutual Defense Treaty, 1951. Carlos P. Garcia became president in 1957 and implemented the Filipino First policy to promote Filipino economic interests.